Dude, you know what's crazy is I just had an SQL query that literally took 2.5 minutes to run, and this most recent run, 0.21 seconds to run the whole query. From it was 150 seconds. Actually, I did something and I ran it concurrently and it brought it down to 140 seconds. And so if we do point, oh my god, this is gonna be some fucking math, but 0.21 seconds divided by 140 seconds. Okay, let me just fucking. Okay, because I forgot how to do math since ChatGPT was invented. Actually, Claude 3.5 is on it, but original time 140 seconds, new time 0.21 seconds. So that means it was decreased 99.85%. And yeah, the whole idea of this video is Postgres is fucking sick. And indexes can save you a lot of time. So let me just show you what I'm trying to do here. Basically what we're doing is we have a list of users or a list of contacts in a CRM, and we want to get the most recent activity for each of those contacts. So that's kind of hard because that's shared across multiple tables. Like we have a messages table, and then I was pulling from a different table, but I took it out, and then we have this other table, which is empty right now, but will eventually have rows in it. And basically, we need to find, for each location, we need to find all the contacts where the date of the last activity is within a certain time range, and we need to make sure that the type is not a specific type that we don't want to fetch for. And so this involves, basically, to query this means you have to go to every single contact in the query. You have to go to all the messages. You have to pull out all of the relevant details and, like, you know, the date of that message, and then find the highest, the most recent one, and then go to the next contact and do that. And some of these locations have like 3,000 contacts. So it takes a fucking minute. Literally, it takes more than a minute. And I was running this with a regular view. So if you don't know, Postgres has two types of views. So and a view, by the way, is fucking sick because I think I can show this. So this is my customers for my apps, and you can see that I've basically pulled in data from a bunch of different tables to kind of combine this. So this is like 3 or 4 tables that are all being meshed together into one view where you can just see all their like monthly values. And so with this is actually a materialized view, which means that it's stored in the database, and this is its own table essentially. So what happens is you have to refresh materialized views manually. You can either set it up on a cron schedule, or you can just refresh them manually in your code like I'm doing up here. So we have this little step right here, which is refresh materialized view concurrently, and then the name of the view. And that basically rewrites this whole table. It goes to all the rows that it needs, and it pulls in and it rewrites this whole table. Whereas with a regular view, basically what it's doing is every time you pull this up, before it can show it to you, it has to go out away and calculate all this stuff. So you saw this one calculated pretty fast. It's not really dependent on too many rows. Whereas this table has 5,000 records, and it's pulling from a list of 35,000 contacts with 33,000 messages between them. So it's a shit ton of data, and it was really fucking slow to query. So you would go to get that view, you would go to get your list of contacts, and it would take 1 minute and 40 seconds to deliver that. Whereas with a materialized view, we can just set that up. So basically I have a big task that's running. We refresh this view, and then down here we actually use that view, and this runs basically right after we've refreshed it. So we know the data is basically up to date, and it doesn't have to be 100% precise. And in fact, I might be able to turn this back into a regular view, although I have 33,000 messages at the moment, and this is just kind of the start. I'm just like pulling in. I was literally running like one location just to test it. This is going to end up being more like, I don't know, a million or a few million within like a couple weeks. So it needs to be performant. Thankfully, I'm running this in trigger.dev and not on like a Vercel edge function where I'm going to hit my, like I will literally would have hit my timeout if it took 2.5 minutes on Vercel. I think you can make it like 3 minutes or something, but yeah, it's just not ideal if you're going to hit that timeout. Whereas with trigger.dev, we have a much higher timeout limit, and I don't really have to worry about that. And as you saw in this task, I'm adding a tag to this to show myself how long the refresh is taking, and it's doing the same refresh every hour, so I can kind of keep an eye on this and see if it starts to creep up there. But let me show you what the actual indexes are, and I don't really know SQL. In fact, I didn't even know about views until today, until I realized what you could do with them, and I had Claude write all these views for me. So what we're doing is we're creating some type of index on the messages with the contact ID, the created at, descending, and the message type. And then I believe this gives you an index on the most recent message, which is pretty fucking sick if you think about it, because that takes away a lot of the work that the query was doing in the first place, having to search through all the messages. If there's an index that tells, you know, the crawler or whatever, like, hey, here's the most recent message, don't bother searching for it, that's going to save a shit ton of time. That's like a lot of our computation. Then we also have the contact date, so the date added of the contact, on this other table that we're also thinking about or looking at. And then we have on the contact activity, we're creating an index for the ID, because in this view, as you could see, we're pulling contact ID, so we need an index on that. And then on this, we're creating an index on the location ID, because for the second task, we have a location ID and we're searching under a specific location ID. I think the most beneficial index was probably just this one. This probably made the biggest difference. But yeah, it's just crazy that, like, I think with Supabase, they kind of automatically create indexes for you. But I didn't really like Supabase. I mean, one thing that I do miss about Supabase is you could sort rows. So I have this table right here with, like, last activity. But I can't say, like, I can't sort it by most recent, you know? So that's kind of unfortunate. I'm sure I could sort it in a view, but it just, you know, it's a little bit kind of more work. So and you have to create a separate view rather than the table to see it in descending order. But anyways, yeah, with Neon, it doesn't automatically create these indexes for you as far as I can tell. But if you do have these queries like this where it's taking a long time, you can fucking speed it up so, like, almost 100% with an index, which is just insane. And I was thinking recently, like, dude, Postgres rocks. Postgres actually fucking rocks because, like, it just has everything. Like, you can run crons. Fireship, actually. Oh, dude. Let me rep this set, bro. Yeah, I watch Fireship. Dude, I got into the gym with this shirt on. No one has said anything. That's crazy, right? But yeah, he had a video about all the shit you could do in Postgres. Like how you could replace a lot of kind of services like cron jobs with Postgres. And so it can do a shit ton. And it's just cool, like, it's just cool to think about, like, all the stuff you could do that you don't really know about right now that might just make your life easier. And yeah, it's funny. It's like development. Like, you start out, I think, like, nowadays everyone starts out with AI. You go, build me this app. And then you go, why did this work and this didn't? You learn a little bit. And then you go, I want to build an app. I want to do it the right way. And you go, what are these JavaScript framework things? You learn a bit about that. And then you go, okay, a database. You pick Supabase and you use their SDK. And then you go, wait, what if I had better TypeScript support? What's Drizzle? And then, like, what if I had, like, auto scaling? What's Neon? And you just learn all this shit over time, and you just keep getting better. Like, I heard someone on YouTube say they had been doing JavaScript for like 10 years, and they still didn't know everything. And I'm like, damn, that's sick. Like, you can actually learn like so much and just get better. So, anyways, that's the whole video. Yeah, use indexes on your database. Create these views because these views rock. Your queries are so much simpler, and like you can save yourself so much effort by creating different views and like generated columns. And then once you have these, then if you just create indexes, those views can be created really fast. They can be regular views that are pulled fast, or materialized views that are refreshed instantly. And yeah, it's just sick. So anyways, that's the video. Smash subscribe.